What are your plans in the EORTC for the next couple of years?
Well, clearly EORTC is facing an important period of its existence, because being a network organization which is working so much into academic clinical trials, we are facing challenges which we have not been facing in the past, in that probably because of a lot of constraints around European directive and the cost of clinical trials, the cost of academic clinical trials is increasing. So in this context, the EORTC has the goal to maintain and expand its mission to do practice-changing clinical trials in a purely academic setting.
The European Commission has apparently admitted that the data they've collected shows that there has been a decrease in people going into clinical trials, patients in cancer clinical trials, of 10%.
That's right.
I mean, is that not a disgrace?
Yes, it's probably not the way we should go forward. I think clinical research should improve. That's certainly in terms of quality something which should be done, and the EORTC is committed to that. But in terms of handling a large number of protocols, in terms of being able to fund important questions to be addressed in clinical trials, we are facing difficult times. And this is something we have to take in account. Right now, our goals for EORTC in the next 2 years or so are really to try to implement an intergroup strategy, to try to work more with our partner organization working in the academic setting in Europe and elsewhere, because clearly EORTC has this mission, vision and expertise to do that in Europe, and it's probably a unique network in this perspective. We also want to select more and more clinical trials based on translational research, and that's probably the core of our work. This is going to be the core of our work in the future. Until recent years, I would say that probably translational research was seen for the clinical researcher as a tool to improve the quality of the trial, but not being integrated in the trial itself. Right now, what we want to do is what we call molecular trials, which means trials based on a true molecular understanding of the subset of the disease and integrating novel targeted therapy in this subset. So,
but you've had a major achievement with the glioma trial that the EORTC ran with MGMT subtypes, showing the temozolomide effect, which you didn't see it in anything else. I mean, that was a classic, and I think it's a very good advertisement for EORTC.
Yes, absolutely. That was a really practice-changing trial, concept-changing and paradigm-changing trial, and this is exactly the way we want to go forward. And particularly at a time where the number of targeted therapy is so much increasing that we will have anyway to be smart in designing our trials, because we do not have enough resources in the academic world to do all the theoretical trial which could be done with each targeted therapy. So we have to select the subtype, give the treatment, and also innovate in our accrual capacity. That's why the intergroup, and also our capacity to identify very rapidly surrogate markers for activity, because I don't think we can wait for 10 years to get the final answer.
You're, among other things, a sarcoma expert. How is translational science impacting on management of sarcoma with surgery, intelligent chemotherapy where it exists, and radiation? What are you thinking there?
Well, clearly sarcoma has been something very much evolving in the last 10 years, probably because we were splitting sarcoma 20 years ago. We were splitting sarcoma into bone sarcoma and soft tissue sarcoma, and soft tissue sarcoma all the same. We now know that it's a big mistake. Well, it was done at the time. Now we split histological subtypes. There are probably more than 50 different histological subtypes of sarcoma, and probably more than 100 molecular subtypes. And it is now quite clear that each histological and probably molecular subtype should have specific treatment. So this has an impact on the quality of surgery, where margins are important, where the quality of margins may be different from one histotype to another. That's still debated. That's also the case for radiotherapy. Which are the subtypes in which we should give radiotherapy? For instance, retroperitoneal liposarcoma, well differentiated with MDM2 amplification. There is a question on this subset which is going to be addressed by EORTC very soon. This level, and probably we are not ending that at this level, also on systemic treatment. Well, the classic now example is, of course, GIST with imatinib. Sure. But we now know that imatinib is probably not active in all 9 or 10 different subtypes of GIST, which means that we have to make a distinction between the molecular subtypes of GIST in order to treat them accordingly. That is true for GIST with imatinib. That is probably true for all sarcoma subsets, even with chemotherapy. So I would say that right now we are more and more relying on the molecular characterization of these tumors in order to be able to design rational clinical trials. And this is why we face a problem,
Sure.
because it's a problem of numbers.
Sure.
So the only way is to merge.
You're pushing multidisciplinarity, which has always been a feature of EORTC, certainly since my time. And you're at ESSO, speaking at the surgical symposium. What's your message for the surgeons?
Well, the message for the surgeon is extremely clear. We will need to integrate more and more molecular classification in the management of the patient. And well, everybody agrees that probably the medical oncologist, radiotherapist, surgeon should be associated in treatment decision-making process. What we probably will have to integrate very soon is that the molecular biologist, along with the pathologist, will have a key role to design not only clinical trial, but also routine treatment for patients. And that is going to be very much practice changing, because that's not trivial, and that needs regrouping of analysis, quality control, and a lot of things which, well, we're expanding multidisciplinarity. That's the message.
Professor Blay, thank you very much indeed. Good luck with your presidency of EORTC.
Thank you very much for your invitation.
And thanks for speaking to eCancer TV.